Hi, and welcome to House Blend on SCV TV. It's a place where Santa Clarita Valley musicians of all persuasions come to play their original material, and you and I get to know them a little bit better with an interview. I'm your host, Stephen K. Peoples, and thanks for dropping in. By the way, if you're a solo artist or have a group and would like to appear on the show, or if you're a fan and you'd like to come down for the next taping, stay tuned, because later on in the show we're going to tell you how to do that. Okay, in the next half hour we're going to hear a band of brothers who sing and play folk rock with a passion. But first we're going to check in with a fast-rising local singer, songwriter, actress, and all-around artist, Karyn Swanson. She's originally from Minnesota, but now lives in the Santa Clarita Valley. Welcome to House Blend, Karyn.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you know, you have a fascinating background. We were talking about it a little bit earlier, but I think we'd like to find out about the musical household that you grew up in.
Oh yeah, my dad, he's kind of been a contained Nashville star.
Contained?
Yeah, he feels like, you know, being in such a small town in Minnesota, as far away as possible from the South, that he's being held back from living his dream of being a Nashville star. But you know, he sings any chance he gets. He has so many guitars, it's ridiculous. He just has to have them. And we have this giant karaoke setup in the room, and my sisters will sing. I love singing with my younger sister, who she harmonizes perfectly with me, which is hard to find. And my stepmom sings. My other little sister, she sings. She tries. But she's young. She'll get there.
Well, that's great. Now, there was this great story that you told me a little bit about when you wanted to teach yourself how to play guitar.
Yes.
And it was a rainy day, or a series of rainy days.
Series of rainy days. That happens in Minnesota. Yeah, I was there for summer, and it was the end of summer. And when the weather was just starting to get nice, it started to rain for almost like a week straight. And none of my friends wanted to go out and do anything, so I had heard the song Hey There Delilah and fell in love with the tune and the picking, and I was like, you know, I kind of want to learn guitar now. That song made me want to learn. And so I go to my back room, which is the music room, and I pick the most beautiful guitar hanging on the wall because, you know, naturally the most beautiful guitar will give you the best noise. So
it's a Tele, right?
Yeah. Oh, Fender Telecaster, so pretty. I'm hoping my dad will give it to me one day. And so I started to learn. I don't read music, so I looked up tabs, and it just shows, you know, where to go on the frets. And I started to learn that song, and by the end of the day, my dad comes home from work, and I'm like, Dad, let me play you a song. He's like, oh, when did you start playing? And I was like, today. And he heard me play that whole song, and he was like, are you serious, today? I tried to teach you like 6 years ago. I'm like, Dad, I was too impatient. I mean, I was little, but.
That's a great story. Now, you came to California when? A few years ago, or?
I think it was 2006.
And what was the idea there? Why did you leave the fabulous Midwest for the left coast?
For the pretty mundane dream, I guess, to be a star. To act and
mundane.
sing. It's very unoriginal,
Okay.
but I think I'll pull it off.
Well, how's it been going so far?
Well, when I first got out here, got enrolled in school and everything, and that took up a lot of time. And then decided to go to an acting school, and the teachers, they taught me so much within a couple weeks that I started getting more confidence, and I was much heavier when I started, so I still lacked the confidence to start, but I've been losing weight recently, so I went on an audition, and it was for a production company, and they get like 60-some auditions a day, and they only take in 20, and they called me, and they're like, we want you. So I'm excited. I get to start living my dream.
That's great. That's great. Now, on a songwriting level, you've written a few original songs so far, right?
Yeah, 4.
4? Okay, now, they don't come frequently, but when they do, they happen, right?
Yeah, it takes me a long time to come up with the concept to the songs, and the melody for me is the hardest, even though my instruments are my vocal cords, so the singing should be the easiest. But once I get the idea, the songs just roll out, and I can finish a song usually within a couple days.
Now, the song that we're going to hear today, Skyscraper.
Yeah.
Or skyscrapers.
Scrapers.
It's a new one.
Yes.
Okay, great. Tell us a little bit about that. How'd that come about?
I thought that the melody had just come to me, but now I realize that when I first picked up a guitar and I was messing with the different strings, I kind of had that "Hey There Delilah" like melody stuck in my head, and I was messing with my strings and loved how it sounded, but could never do anything with it. And so that was actually from about 2008, and I'd left it alone. And then the lyrics, I had actually written a poem about a year ago. Yeah, and I loved how that sounded, but didn't think about putting in a song. Finally, the melody came back to me when I was just messing with my guitar, and then I remembered that I wrote this poem and put it together, and I'm like, that's awesome. I have a song that took me that long, but I didn't realize it. So
that's a very common thing among songwriters, is to have a piece here and a piece there at very different times, and then at some weird random time it'll make sense to put them together, and bang, it's done.
It was so weird.
That's great. All right, well, we're going to hear you perform Skyscrapers now, and so we're looking forward to seeing that. So here we are on House Blend, and here's Karyn Swanson singing Skyscrapers.
Walking down an empty hall, there's no one with me here at all. I'm all alone without you by my side. I try to speak, I make no sound. Suddenly my feet have left the ground. I'm flying high above the darkened sky. Skyscrapers beneath my feet, and a field of stars are shining in front of me, and I can't help but feel at home. And time stops as I fly by, and the whole world seems to close its eyes and dream. And for a moment, everything's as good as it seems. The dark and stormy night has passed, and I can finally see at last that you are standing right in front of me. Becoming strong, becoming tall, now I can finally see it all, and it takes the breath away from me. The skyscrapers beneath my feet, and the field of stars are shining in front of me, and I can't help but feel at home. And time stops as I fly by, and the whole world seems to close its eyes and dream. And for a moment, everything's as good as it seems. And the sun begins to rise, and the clouds become like golden streamers, and you look into my eyes. You wanna fly with me forever, so we'll fly skyscrapers beneath our feet. We can't help but feel at home.
That was Skyscrapers by singer-songwriter-artist Karyn Swanson on the House Blend right here at SCV TV. I'm your host, Stephen K. Peoples. Now, Karyn, that story you told us earlier about picking up the guitar and learning how to play it in a day, you're doing the same thing with drums. You're taking drum lessons now, right?
Yes. My boyfriend, he's a metal drummer, and that's not at all my style, but he astonishes me every time he plays. And so he heard me in the garage messing with his drums while he was trying to help out his grandparents. And he comes out and he's like, "Baby, I need to teach you how to play drums." And so I've taken a couple lessons, and he's kind of jealous at how fast I pick up things, and because I'm already incorporating like foot pedals that he didn't do until he was playing for like a couple months. So it's going well though.
That's pretty amazing. So you showed your dad and your boyfriend that you're a pretty quick study. Mm-hmm. That's very cool. That's very cool. Now, what other pursuits are you into aside from singing, songwriting, and acting?
I really love photography. I'd actually taken headshots for my brother and sister, and they brought them to their agents, and their agents liked them but wanted to try using their professional photographer, which I was like, all right, you know, I'm no pro. But then in the end, they still ended up wanting to use mine, so I was pretty excited about that.
Well, that's cool. That's cool.
Other than that, I paint, I draw. You know, I love entertaining people. I do makeovers and then Photoshop them into crazy things.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, I'm a graphics designer too, so.
Oh, that's good. It's good to have computer skills these days. Well, that's outstanding. Karyn, I really appreciate your coming by, and wanted to let folks know how we might be able to find your music, find out more about you. Do you have a web address? Or?
I did have a MySpace.
Okay.
But I had put up cover songs, and I didn't know you weren't allowed to do that. So I got kicked off there. I do have a Facebook, though, if you look me up. It's just Karyn Swanson, Karyn, and got a pretty little picture there. And I'll be putting up videos and things soon, now that I found my camera.
All right, that's good. That's good. All right, well, thanks very much. And thanks for joining us on House Blend, Karyn. We really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you in the future and watching your star rise. All right, we'll be back with more of our show right after this short break.
Hey, don't fret about today. Well, it's gonna be okay. Soon enough you'll see.